Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your shortcut to, well, really getting under the surface of complex topics. Today, we're plunging into something massive, something that underpins almost everything in our modern world, but often goes unseen. We're talking about the global metals and mining industry.
Absolutely foundational.
Exactly. And our mission today is to pull out the key insights, maybe some surprising facts about where this vital market is actually going over the next, say, 10 years or so. We're basing this on a deep forecast looking all the way out to 2033.
And the data comes from cognitive market research. It's quite comprehensive.
Right. So get ready. We're hoping you'll see the building blocks of our future in a slightly different way after this. Okay, let's unpack this then. Starting with the big picture, the global figures, just to get a sense of the scale we're dealing with.
It's huge.
Yeah. So back in 2021, the global market pulled in a massive $1,020.6 billion.
Just over $1 trillion.
Yep. And looking ahead, it's projected to hit about $1,217.55 billion by 2025. But then it really picks up steam, expected to reach $1,732.81 billion by 2033.
Wow.
That gives us a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of 4.51% globally. So what does that kind of growth tell us, that steady climb?
Well, what's fascinating here is not just the absolute size of those numbers, though they are staggering. It's that consistent upward trend. That 4.51% CAGR isn't, explosive, but it's persistent. It means the base is constantly expanding year on year. It's that compounding effect, right?
Right.
It basically pushes the market to almost double over the forecast period. Think of it like a snowball gaining mass as it rolls. It just shows how fundamentally indispensable these metals and minerals are. They're the backbone for, well, almost everything. Steel for buildings, copper for electronics, rare earths for high tech. You name it.
So it's deeply embedded.
Absolutely.
Right.
And this steady growth signals deep-seated global demand that just isn't letting up.
Okay, that makes sense. Foundational is the word. So let's pivot a bit. How do different parts of the world play into this? Who's driving it? I mean, where are the sort of regional powerhouses?
Well, no huge surprise, the Asia-Pacific region leads the charge by quite a margin, actually.
How big are we talking?
In 2021, it was already almost $486 billion.
Nearly half the global total, then.
Pretty much. And it's projected to grow to over $871 billion by 2033.
And the growth rate there?
Stronger than the global average. A solid 5.001% CAGR.
Okay, and within APAC, who are the key players? Still China dominating?
China definitely holds the top spot, yeah. Looking at about $143 billion in 2021, heading towards $262 billion by 2033. That's a CAGR of nearly 5.2%.
But you mentioned APAC's overall growth is around 5%, so China's pulling its weight, but maybe not driving all the acceleration.
Exactly. And here's where it gets, like you said earlier, really interesting. Look at India.
Okay.
India has the highest country-level CAGR in the whole data set, over 6%, 6.043% to be precise.
Wow, 6%. So that's going from, what, about $54 billion?
Yeah, $53.9 billion in 2021, projected to hit nearly $109 billion by 2033, basically doubling its market size.
So what does that kind of surge, especially from India? Tell us about, the global picture. Manufacturing, consumption.
Oh, it signals a massive wave. You're talking huge infrastructure development, urbanization, industrialization picking up pace. Imagine the steel needed for new cities, the copper for expanding power grids, all the materials for new tech industries. It really points to where a major part of the next industrial boom is happening globally.
Right. And it's not just China and India, presumably?
No, definitely not. You see really robust growth across Southeast Asia, too. Their collective CAGR is accelerating, set to hit almost 5.6%. Singapore's is strong, too, over 5.2%. Even the more mature economies like Japan, South Korea, Australia, they're showing steady growth, maybe around 4.1 to 4.4% CAGR. Still significant contributions.
Okay, so APAC is clearly a major engine. Let's swing over to North America. How does it compare?
North America's story is a bit different. Solid, definitely a critical pillar, but perhaps not that blistering pace you see in parts of Asia.
Right. So the numbers.
Over $213 billion in 2021, projected to grow steadily to nearly $330 billion by 2033.
And the growth rate.
It's a consistent 3.681% CAGR. So growing, but at a more moderate pace compared to APAC.
And within that, the U.S. obviously takes the lion's share.
Oh, absolutely. The U.S. market was about $176 billion in 2021, heading towards $269 billion. Its growth rate is slightly lower than the regional average, around 3.57%.
So is this growth driven differently? You mentioned India's boom. Is North America more about, say, upgrading efficiency rather than just building new stuff from scratch?
That's a really good way to put it. Yes, I think largely North America's growth, especially in the U.S., is often tied more to maintaining and upgrading existing infrastructure, plus advanced manufacturing, maybe shifts in supply chains, rather than that sort of raw build-out phase.
Hmm.
Although, interestingly, Canada shows a higher growth rate.
Oh,
Yeah, Canada's CAGR is actually 4.513%, higher than the U.S.
closer to the global average then?
Exactly. That might reflect specific investments in resource extraction, perhaps for, critical minerals, for new technologies, or maybe specific projects coming online, a different kind of dynamic.
Got it. Okay, North America, stable, significant. What about Europe? How does it fit in?
Europe also presents a, well, stable picture. It's a major market, of course.
Market size.
It was over $131 billion back in 2021, projected to reach just over $202 billion by 2033.
And the growth rate?
Pretty much neck and neck with North America, actually,
Here.
3.754% CAGR.
Okay. Any standouts within Europe?
Well, you have the industrial powerhouses. Germany is projected to reach $44.4 billion, growing at a pretty strong 4.4% CAGR. The UK is also solid, around 4.1% growth.
And others?
France and Italy show slightly more moderate growth, around 3.2% to 3.4%. And worth noting, Russia's growth is projected to be more modest, around 2.67% CAGR.
So what's driving Europe's demand? Similar to North America? Or different factors again?
It's probably a mix. Europe has a very advanced industrial base, so there's ongoing demand there. Plus, you have major transitions happening, like the push towards renewable energy and EVs, which are incredibly metal-intensive.
Ah, right. Wind turbines, batteries.
Exactly. So it's stable, mature growth, but still anchoring a really significant chunk of global demand.
Okay, so if we just quickly connect the dots between these big three regions, APAC, North America, Europe, it seems clear APAC isn't just the biggest, but it's also got the most growth momentum, right?
Definitely. The higher key GRs there, especially driven by countries like India and Southeast Asia, suggest a continued shift, or at least a consolidation, of industrial and manufacturing weight towards that region.
While North America and Europe are providing that stable, consistent demand base.
Precisely. It really paints a picture of where the new demand, the incremental growth in consumption, is likely to be concentrated over the next decade. It shows these evolving economic landscapes quite clearly.
Okay, now you said earlier, here's where it gets really interesting when talking about India. Let's dive into some other regions that might be smaller now, but are showing really dynamic growth. Where else should we be looking?
Yeah, absolutely. South America, for instance.
Okay.
It shows really vigorous growth, a strong KGR forecast at 4.725%.
Higher than North America or Europe, then?
Yep. Poised to jump from around $87 billion in 2021 to over $151 billion by 2033.
Brazil's the big player there, I assume.
Brazil leads, yes, but check this out. Argentina's KGR is forecast at a notably high 5.239%.
Wow, over 5.2%. What's driving that kind of acceleration in a place like Argentina? Is it new discoveries, policy changes?
It's often a combination of things. It could be renewed investment in infrastructure, maybe new mining projects, especially things like lithium, perhaps, or maybe just burgeoning domestic industries needing more raw materials. It's like watching parts of the world gear up for more construction, more manufacturing.
It's building out their capacity.
Exactly, building out capacity across the board.
Okay, South America showing dynamism.
Yeah.
Where else?
The Middle East, definitely seeing an accelerating market there.
Growth rate.
The regional CAGR is 4.649%.
Right.
So again, faster than the global average, growing from about $68 billion to over $118 billion by 2033.
And key players, Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia leads the way, yes. But you also see really high growth rates in Turkey,
Oh.
over 5% CAGR for Turkey. And the UAE is also projected strong growth, over 5.2%.
Interesting. Lots of diversification efforts happening there. Maybe that's tied in.
Could very well be, investing heavily in non-oil sectors, many of which require significant metal inputs.
Right. And we can't forget Africa. What's the picture there?
Africa shows rising potential. The market size is smaller, starting at around $35 billion in 2021.
But growing.
Yes, projected to reach nearly $60 billion by 2033. That's a CAGR of 4.087%. So solid growth.
Any particular countries driving that?
Well, key economies like South Africa show a healthy CAGR of around 4.74%. And Nigeria is also robust, about 4.3%. It suggests growing industrial activity and resource development across the continent.
So if you pull back and look at these kind of high growth spots, parts of Asia, South America, Middle East, Africa, What does that tell you about the bigger picture, global development?
Well, it paints a really fascinating portrait, doesn't it?
Yeah.
These countries with the soaring KGRs, they aren't just building more roads or houses. They're likely investing heavily in the industries of the future. Green energy infrastructure, maybe advanced manufacturing hubs, digital transformation.
All very metal hungry.
Extremely metal hungry.
Yeah.
So it implies shifts, not just in where things are made, but potentially what is being made globally.
Mhm.
And that inevitably shapes resource demand, international trade, economic partnerships, maybe even geopolitical dynamics down the line. Every percentage point of growth here translates into millions of tons of materials shaping our collective future.
Okay, that really puts it into perspective. So let's try and bring this all together. What does this complex global picture actually mean for you listening in?
Well, first off, it seems pretty clear the overall story is one of consistent, pretty robust growth nearly everywhere.
Right.
Absolutely. It's a foundational industry, as
Yeah.
we said. And it's not just holding steady, it's significantly expanding for at least the next decade, based on these projections.
But, and this seems crucial, the pace of that growth varies quite a lot.
That's the key takeaway, I think. While the baseline growth is solid globally,
Mm-hmm.
you see these clear hotspots. India, parts of Southeast Asia, Argentina, Turkey, the UAE, they're showing significantly higher CAGRs.
Indicating dynamic shifts.
Exactly. Shifting economic weight, emerging opportunities, concentrated new demand within this absolutely vital market.
Right. It's not just growing, it's evolving.
Precisely.
So thinking about that sustained demand, that massive expansion, it does raise some big questions, doesn't it?
It certainly does. And maybe this is something for you, the listener, to consider. Given this relentless projected demand for metals and minerals right across the globe,
Mhm.
what kind of innovative solutions might pop up to actually meet this growth? And crucially, how are we going to tackle the inherent challenges? The energy needed for extraction, the processing, the environmental impacts, especially as the scale just keeps getting bigger.
That is a really powerful thought to leave people with. How to fuel the future sustainably. Okay, well, we've taken quite a journey there through the engine room of the global economy, essentially, the metals and mining forecast. We really hope this deep dive has given you a clearer, maybe more insightful picture of where this truly vital market is heading. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time, keep digging for knowledge.